Back. Most people don't fail because their dreams are too big. They fail because they never built a system to reach them. Motivation fades. Talent can only take you so far. Back. But if you had a structure that made success inevitable, if you had a process that worked even on your worst days, what could you achieve? Today, back. I'm going to show you how to build systems that make your goals unstoppable. Most people live their lives believing that goals alone are enough to create transformation. But in reality, back, goals are only the spark and never the fire. Writing down a goal on paper feels powerful for a moment, but without the structure to support it, that energy fades quickly. Back. Think about how often people declare New Year's resolutions with enthusiasm, only to abandon them within weeks. The problem isn't that they lack desire or ambition. The problem is that they lacked systems. A goal is nothing more than a wish without a plan for consistent action. Systems are what turn fleeting motivation into reliable momentum. Systems bring clarity to chaos, it back, showing you exactly what needs to be done and when. While goals provide direction, systems provide execution. Without execution, even the clearest vision remains a dream that never sees the light of day. Back. Imagine two people who both want to run a marathon. One writes the goal on a sticky note, pins it to the wall, and tells everyone about it, but never designs a training schedule. The other creates a system. Back. 3 runs per week, progressively increasing distance with rest days and nutrition accounted for. Who do you think will cross the finish line? It's not the one who shouted their ambition the loudest, back, but the one who embedded it into daily action. This is the difference between intention and preparation, between hope and strategy. The mind can convince you that wanting something is enough, but life only rewards structured effort. Systems are like maps that take a destination and break it into streets, turns, and steps. When the path is mapped out, all that remains is walking it every day back. People often confuse motivation with progress, but the reality is that motivation is temporary and unreliable. It's easy to wake up excited when you first set a new goal, but eventually that excitement fades. Back. Without a system, the days when you feel tired, stressed, or uninspired will derail your efforts completely. Systems protect you from those low energy days by giving you a clear framework to follow. Back. If the system says you write for 30 minutes every morning, it doesn't matter how you feel, you simply follow the structure. That's why successful people rely less on emotion and more on process. They know their future is not built by random bursts of enthusiasm, but by steady and predictable actions. Systems ensure that progress continues even when motivation disappears. Progress then builds momentum back, and momentum creates results. Consider how this plays out in health and fitness. Someone who says, I want to lose 20 pounds, may start with excitement, but without a system, their actions will be inconsistent. They'll work out sporadically, eat well some days, and then fall back into old habits when life gets busy. Another person says, I will meal prep every Sunday, track my food, back, and exercise 4 days a week at 7 a.m. That system eventually guarantees results regardless of mood or circumstances. Over time, the system reshapes not only the body, but also the mind. Back, the individual stops relying on motivation and starts trusting the process. The goal of losing 20 pounds becomes inevitable because the system makes it impossible not to progress. Systems remove the guesswork and bring certainty into the journey. The body simply responds to the consistent actions you feed it. This principle applies beyond personal health. It governs success in careers, back, relationships, and finances. Someone may set the goal to earn more money, but without a system for learning new skills, applying for opportunities, or creating value consistently, the goal remains empty. Another person designs a system where they dedicate time daily to building knowledge, networking strategically, and taking on challenging projects. Over time, that system compounds into better roles, higher pay, and greater opportunities. The same applies to relationships. Wanting deeper connections isn't enough. A system of consistent communication, acts of care, and quality time creates lasting bonds. Goals describe outcomes, back, but systems are the engines that produce them. When you align your daily habits with the life you want, results stop being optional and start becoming inevitable. Systems make success repeatable because they create habits that sustain themselves. The beauty of systems is that they shift your focus from distant outcomes to controllable actions. When you only stare at a goal, back, it feels overwhelming because you constantly measure the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But when you focus on a system, all you think about is the next step back. If the system says, write 1 page a day, you only need to do that, and over a year, you'll have a book. If the system says, save 10% of every paycheck, you only need to follow it, and over years, take it back. You'll build wealth. By focusing on systems, you bring peace to the process because you no longer stress about the end result. Each small win stacks onto the previous one, and slowly, the mountain is climbed. Hit back. The power of systems is in their ability to shrink impossibility into daily choices. Another critical element of systems is accountability. Goals are private, but systems can be shared, tracked, and measured. Back. If you set a goal to get fit, nobody knows when you skip a workout. But if your system includes logging workouts, tracking meals, or checking in with a coach, your progress becomes visible. Back. Accountability forces consistency, and consistency multiplies results. That's why athletes have coaches, entrepreneurs have mentors, and teams have playbooks. They rely on systems that ensure discipline. Back. You can't always control outcomes, but you can always control actions, and systems anchor those actions into your daily life. This transforms progress from something accidental into something predictable. Back. Systems also give you data, allowing you to refine what's working and eliminate what's not. They evolve with you, ensuring continuous improvement. Without accountability, even the best goals fade. With it, systems thrive. It's also worth understanding that systems create identity. Every time you follow a system, you reinforce who you are becoming. When you show up to write daily, you stop seeing yourself as someone who wants to write and start seeing yourself as a writer. When you consistently train, you stop saying, I'm trying to be fit, and begin identifying as an athlete. Systems shift your self-image by making actions consistent with the future you want. This alignment of action and identity is where true transformation happens. Goals might inspire you to change, but systems are what actually change you. They don't just create results. They create new versions of you who naturally live those results. The stronger your system, the more inevitable your transformation. You stop forcing yourself into change and start flowing into it naturally. The truth is that anyone can set goals, but only those who build systems achieve them. Goals without systems create frustration because they leave you with desire but no pathway. Systems without goals create productivity without purpose, but when the two align, you unlock unstoppable momentum. A goal tells you where to go, and a system shows you how to get there. That combination transforms ambition into achievement. Most importantly, systems allow you to build a life that doesn't rely on chance or mood, but on structure and consistency. They make results predictable, progress measurable, and growth sustainable. Instead of living in cycles of excitement and disappointment, you begin living in cycles of progress and achievement. Systems are the silent architecture of success, quietly shaping your life behind the scenes. With them, goals stop being distant dreams and start becoming lived realities. Motivation is often treated as the fuel for achievement, but the truth is that it is fleeting, unreliable, and unpredictable. On days when energy is high, motivation feels unstoppable, but on days when life feels heavy, it vanishes. If your success depends on whether or not you feel motivated, your journey will always be unstable. Systems step in where motivation fails, providing a structure that keeps you moving no matter how you feel. A well-built system doesn't ask for your mood, it asks only for your action. It gives you clear steps that remove the need for endless decision-making. Instead of wondering what to do, you simply follow the plan. That is the power of systems. They replace inconsistency with discipline. And discipline is the true foundation of success. When you rely on motivation alone, progress becomes a roller coaster of highs and lows. You'll have moments of intense effort, followed by long stretches of inactivity. This inconsistency destroys momentum and makes goals seem farther away than they really are. Systems solve this by making your actions automatic, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. You don't need motivation for those habits. You just do them because the system is ingrained. The same can be true for working out, saving money, or learning new skills. By embedding tasks into a system, they become part of your lifestyle rather than temporary efforts. Over time, the small repeated actions compound into remarkable progress. Consistency is born, and consistency always outperforms bursts of motivation. With systems, discipline replaces emotion, ensuring growth continues even on your hardest days. Think about how often people abandon their goals because they didn't feel like it. The truth is, feelings will never align perfectly with the work required to succeed. If success depended only on feeling ready, almost nothing would get done. That is why systems are non-negotiable. They remove feelings from the equation. A system doesn't care if you are tired, bored, or uninspired. It only cares that the action gets done. Imagine a morning routine where your alarm, workout clothes, and water bottle are ready the night before. When you wake up, there's no debate, just execution. This is how systems eliminate excuses and minimize procrastination. By designing your environment and actions ahead of time, you create discipline without needing willpower. In the absence of motivation, systems carry you forward. Discipline becomes the automatic outcome. It is tempting to believe that successful people are simply more motivated than others, but that belief is a myth. The real difference is that they depend less on how they feel and more on the structures they've built. Their systems force progress whether or not their emotions cooperate. Consider how a pilot doesn't fly a plane based on mood, but by following a checklist of systems. No matter how tired or stressed, the plane must be flown correctly, and the system ensures it. This is the same principle that applies to goals in life. When you build systems, you create a personal checklist that guarantees movement forward. You no longer need to rely on bursts of inspiration. Instead, you rely on a predictable process that steadily pushes you closer to success. This separation from feelings is what builds unshakable discipline. Another strength of systems is their ability to create habits through repetition. When an action is repeated enough times within a system, it no longer feels like a chore. It becomes part of who you are. This is how discipline grows without effort. At first, the system feels deliberate, but soon it becomes automatic, waking up early, eating healthy, or studying daily shifts from being a challenge to being natural. Discipline emerges not from constant self-control, but from consistent repetition. Motivation may light the spark, but the system keeps the fire burning. Over time, the system transforms effort into identity. And identity sustains action without struggle. What once felt difficult now feels normal. That shift is the moment when discipline replaces motivation entirely. And from that moment forward, growth becomes unstoppable. Many people fall into the trap of chasing motivation endlessly, thinking they need to feel ready before they act. They watch videos, read books, or wait for the perfect mood to strike back. But waiting for motivation is just another form of procrastination. Systems remove the waiting by making action the default. If your system is to write every morning at the same time, you don't wait for inspiration, you write. If your system is to exercise on a set schedule, you don't wait for energy, you train it back. Discipline grows when you stop asking if you feel like it and start asking if your system is being followed. This shift changes your relationship with effort. Work no longer feels optional, it becomes routine. Systems make commitment stronger than mood. That is the real advantage over relying on motivation. Consider the example of building financial freedom. Someone may feel motivated to save money after reading a book or hearing advice, but without a system, that motivation fades quickly when temptations arise. A system, however, might include automatic transfers to savings or strict spending categories. That system doesn't ask if you feel motivated to save, it forces saving every single month. The result is financial discipline without constant effort. Over time, the money grows and the goal becomes reality. This is the difference between fleeting motivation and sustainable systems. Systems don't rely on willpower at the moment of decision. They lock in discipline by removing choice altogether. When the system is strong, you can trust it to produce results. And results come not from feelings, but from actions consistently repeated. Systems also free up mental energy by reducing decision fatigue. Motivation often fails because people exhaust themselves deciding when, how, or whether to act. Every decision drains willpower, leaving less energy for actual work. Systems remove this drain by pre-deciding your actions. If your system is to run every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there's no decision to make when the day arrives, you just run. This predictability preserves mental strength for execution. Discipline thrives when the path is already clear. You save energy for doing instead of debating. This is why systems are more powerful than motivation. They don't just demand effort, they simplify it. The less you rely on choice, the more you rely on structure. And in that structure lies the foundation of true progress. The mind is freed and discipline is strengthened. The most powerful aspect of systems is how they create consistency. And consistency is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Anyone can act once or twice when motivation strikes, but only systems keep actions alive long enough to see real results. Think about planting a seed. You can't water it once and expect a tree. You must water it regularly, whether or not you feel like it. Systems are that regular watering, the steady care that guarantees growth. Motivation may help you plant the seed, but discipline ensures the tree grows strong. Every act done consistently compounds, multiplying results beyond what you imagined. Over months and years, the difference between relying on motivation and relying on systems becomes massive. The motivated person starts and stops, the disciplined person finishes. And finishing is what achievement is built on. Success is often mistaken for a gift of talent or intelligence, but the truth is far simpler. It belongs to those who master systems. Talent can provide a strong start, and intelligence can offer clever strategies. But neither guarantees lasting achievement. History is filled with stories of gifted individuals who never reached their potential because they lacked structure. Meanwhile, countless people with average skills built extraordinary lives through consistent systems. The system does not care how naturally talented you are. It rewards repetition and structure. By following a process, even the ordinary can achieve what seems extraordinary. Talent may open the door, but systems keep it open long enough for success to walk through. Intelligence may help you see opportunities, but systems ensure you act on them consistently. The winners are rarely the smartest, they are the most systematic. Imagine two students preparing for the same exam. One has a sharp memory and natural ability, but studies only when inspired. The other might not grasp concepts as quickly, but has a system, scheduled study sessions, notes reviewed daily, and practice tests every week. By the time the exam arrives, the second student is calm and prepared while the first is anxious and scattered. The outcome reveals the truth. Systems outwork natural talent. Life operates in the same way. Success comes not from brilliance in isolated moments, but from consistent preparation over time. Systems provide that preparation, turning small actions into lasting mastery. Talent without systems becomes wasted potential. Systems without talent still produce results. And when talent meets systems, the possibilities multiply beyond imagination. But the consistent always surpass the inconsistent, no matter how gifted they are. The same truth applies in the world of business and careers. A brilliant entrepreneur may launch a company with energy and vision, but without systems for hiring, operations, and growth, the business will collapse. On the other hand, an average founder with structured systems can build something that outlasts them. Systems scale what talent cannot sustain. They provide predictability, efficiency, and stability in environments where talent alone is fragile. This is why some organizations thrive for decades while others vanish quickly. Talent burns bright but short, systems burn steady and long. The same principle applies to personal careers. An employee with a system for continuous learning, networking, and performance improvement will eventually outgrow someone relying only on natural ability. Systems beat talent because they create a rhythm of progress that does not fade. They endure when talent alone falls short. In relationships, the same principle quietly shapes outcomes. A person may be naturally charming, funny, or intelligent, drawing people to them easily. But without systems of communication, care, and consistency, those connections weaken over time. Another person may not have dazzling charm, but they build systems, regular check-ins, thoughtful actions, and intentional listening that sustain strong bonds for years. The second person's relationships grow deeper, more loyal, and more lasting. Once again, systems prove more powerful than talent. Relationships thrive on consistency, not just charisma. Without a system, even the strongest spark fades with a system. Even modest beginnings can grow into unshakable partnerships. Life rewards the ones who show up consistently, not the ones who dazzle occasionally. Systems create that consistency by embedding care and effort into repeatable actions. Talent may attract, but systems sustain. Another key reason systems beat talent is their ability to compound. Talent may give you an early lead, but without systems, that lead shrinks over time. Systems, however, grow stronger the longer they are practiced. Daily routines, repeated over weeks and months, create mastery that raw talent alone cannot match. Consider athletes who train relentlessly with structured systems versus those who rely only on natural ability. The ones who train with systems become legends, while the naturally talented fade away. Compounding applies to every area: health, finance, learning, and personal growth. Systems build layers of progress that stack into extraordinary achievements. What looks like overnight success is usually the result of systems compounding quietly in the background. Talent may impress early, but systems impress forever. The true advantage belongs not to the gifted, but to the disciplined. Systems also protect you from the weaknesses of talent and intelligence. Talent often leads to overconfidence, making people believe they don't need preparation or discipline. Intelligence can lead to overthinking, where ideas pile up but actions never follow. Systems counter both traps by grounding you in consistent action. They humble talent by demanding daily practice. No matter how skilled you are, they simplify intelligence by translating complex ideas into repeatable steps. In this way, systems transform potential into results. They shield you from arrogance, procrastination, and inconsistency. Without systems, talent and intelligence often self-destruct under pressure. With systems, even small abilities grow stronger over time. Systems balance gifts with structure, ensuring that effort is always greater than ego. They provide the foundation that brilliance alone cannot offer. And in the end, effort sustained by systems always wins. What's remarkable about systems is that anyone can build them regardless of starting point. You don't need to be gifted to create a morning routine, a study plan, or a savings strategy. You don't need to be naturally talented to commit to daily exercise, intentional practice, or time management. Systems are accessible to everyone, and this levels the playing field. Person who may not start with natural advantages can still surpass those who do by sticking to strong systems. This is why success stories often come from unexpected places, because discipline and systems are within everyone's reach. You don't control your talent, but you control your systems. That truth alone is empowering. It means your future is not determined by what you were born with, but by what you build daily. Systems turn ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Think of learning a new skill, like playing a musical instrument. Natural talent might help someone pick it up quickly, but without a practice system, they'll plateau. Meanwhile, someone less naturally gifted, but with a daily practice system, will steadily improve. Over months and years, the system beats the talent, producing a better musician. This is true of writing, coding, public speaking, or any craft. Systems give you the discipline to move past plateaus where talent stalls. They give you resilience when progress feels slow, because the process carries you forward. Without systems, frustration leads to quitting. With systems, persistence leads to mastery. Every expert you admire built their expertise not on talent alone, but on systems of practice. The lesson is clear: systems build mastery where talent cannot. Consistency will always outperform brilliance without structure. The ultimate advantage of systems is their ability to endure when everything else fails. Talent can fade with age, and intelligence can falter under stress, but systems remain. They become second nature, embedded into your daily life like invisible scaffolding. Even in difficult seasons, systems keep you anchored to progress. They don't require you to feel inspired or gifted at the moment. They simply ask you to show up and follow through. Over time, this reliability builds trust in yourself. You know that no matter what happens, your system will keep you moving. That trust is more valuable than any natural gift. It gives you resilience, confidence, and stability. Talent may win in moments, but systems win in the long run. And life, after all, is not a race of moments. It is a marathon of years. The greatest strategy for achieving success is to design systems that make failure nearly impossible. Too often, people set goals and then rely on willpower alone to reach them, which leaves them vulnerable to distraction and setbacks. Willpower is fragile. But systems are durable because they build success into your daily environment. By breaking a goal into smaller, controllable steps, you create progress that feels achievable rather than overwhelming. Writing a book, for example, is not a single event, but a system of daily writing. Saving for the future is not about one decision, but about automating savings every month. Health is not a resolution, but a system of nutrition, movement, and rest. Each goal becomes inevitable when the system leaves little room for failure. Strong systems turn success into the natural outcome of ordinary actions. it back. One of the most powerful features of systems is their ability to automate decisions. Every day, people waste energy debating what they should or should not do. But these micro decisions drain willpower and increase the likelihood of quitting. Systems solve this by removing decision-making entirely. If you always go to the gym at 6 a.m., back. I trust no choice to be made when the alarm rings. If your meals are prepped every Sunday, you don't decide what to eat when you're hungry. Back. Automating choices builds consistency while protecting you from the pull of convenience. The fewer decisions you leave to chance, the more reliable your progress becomes. Systems create predictability, back, and predictability compounds into achievement. By reducing decision fatigue, you replace chaos with clarity. Progress no longer depends on what you feel like doing. It flows naturally from the system you've built. Back, friction is another silent enemy that systems eliminate. When the effort to start is too high, even the best intentions collapse. A system reduces friction by making the right action the easiest action. Back. If you want to exercise more, keep your workout clothes visible and ready the night before. If you want to read instead of scrolling endlessly, place a book where you normally keep your phone. By lowering the barrier to entry, you make it harder to fail and easier to succeed. This design of environment is a crucial part of effective systems. Success is not about fighting yourself every day, but about making good choices feel natural. Friction pushes people toward failure, but systems remove friction before it becomes an obstacle. This is how systems transform effort into habit. By engineering simplicity, you make success the default path. Tracking progress is another way systems ensure that failure becomes unlikely. Without tracking, back, it's easy to convince yourself that you're making progress when you're not. Systems include measurable checkpoints that make results visible. For instance, tracking workouts, savings, back, or words written per day gives you feedback that confirms progress. This feedback builds confidence and exposes areas that need improvement. Systems thrive on clarity, and tracking provides that clarity. It's difficult to ignore patterns when the numbers are right in front of you. Tracking also creates accountability, reminding you that consistency is not negotiable. Each small metric reinforces that you are moving closer to your goal. Success stops feeling abstract and starts feeling tangible. Systems that track progress keep you aligned, disciplined, and motivated. In this way, failure becomes less of a possibility and more of a choice. Accountability multiplies the strength of systems by adding external reinforcement. When you are accountable only to yourself, excuses can creep in easily. Back. But when you share your system with others or tie it to external commitments, it becomes stronger. A workout system is more reliable when you meet a partner at the gym. A writing system gains momentum when you commit to sharing weekly progress with a mentor. Accountability transforms private promises into public commitments, which are harder to break. It also creates support, back, encouragement, and sometimes pressure, all of which drive consistency. Systems that include accountability ensure that failure is not a silent retreat, but a visible deviation. This visibility forces responsibility and pushes you to stay the course. When systems include accountability, discipline no longer depends only on your inner strength. Back. It is reinforced by your environment and your community. Flexibility within systems is also vital because rigidity can cause collapse under pressure. Life is unpredictable, and systems that cannot adapt eventually break. A strong system allows for adjustment while keeping the core habit intact. For example, if travel disrupts your fitness plan, a flexible system shifts the workout to bodyweight exercises in a hotel room. Back, if an unexpected expense interrupts savings, the system adjusts but ensures contributions continue at a reduced level. Flexibility prevents setbacks from turning into failures. It teaches you to bend without breaking, back, which is the key to long-term resilience. Systems are not prisons. They are frameworks that guide behavior while allowing for adaptation. This balance keeps you consistent without being crushed by perfectionism. Flexibility ensures that progress continues in any circumstance. The result is a system that grows with you rather than against you. Back. Another reason strong systems make failure unlikely is that they create momentum through consistency. Once you build a streak of actions, you begin to value the progress you've made and want to protect it. Back. Missing one day of your system feels like breaking a chain, which creates internal motivation to keep going. Momentum turns discipline into desire because the satisfaction of progress fuels itself. Back. Systems that reinforce streaks and rhythms generate unstoppable energy. The more consistent you are, the more momentum builds and the harder it becomes to quit. Back. This cycle makes success almost unavoidable because you don't want to undo your progress. Each small action reinforces the system, and the system reinforces your identity. It back. You no longer see yourself as someone trying, you see yourself as someone who does. Momentum is the reward of discipline, and systems are how you earn it. Take back. The magic of systems lies in how they shrink big goals into small daily wins. A goal like writing a book may feel impossible, but a system of 500 words a day feels manageable. Over time, back, those words stack into chapters and chapters into manuscripts. Systems transform overwhelming dreams into achievable actions. They remove the intimidation of the finish line by focusing only on the next step. Back. By making the process simple and repeatable, systems protect you from the paralysis of perfectionism. You don't need to worry about finishing the marathon. You just need to run today's mile. This shift in focus is what makes failure unlikely. When you only think about the present action, progress becomes natural. Each day becomes a victory, and each victory builds toward the larger goal. Systems win by keeping the journey small, steady, and sustainable. The final strength of systems is their ability to outlast mood, willpower, and circumstance. They create an invisible structure that carries you forward even when everything else feels uncertain. A strong system continues to operate whether you feel tired, uninspired, or distracted. It makes success predictable instead of accidental. By designing systems that account for automation, accountability tracking, and momentum, you leave very little space for failure. The system becomes a safety net that catches you when motivation slips. It becomes the bridge between your ambition and your achievement. Over time, this reliability builds trust in yourself. You no longer hope for progress, you expect it. That expectation changes everything because when success feels inevitable, you stop fearing failure. Systems make success less about chance and more about design. And with the right design, failure becomes nothing more than a distant possibility.